What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I have over here Ross Heaton. He is a home inspector, and he's the guy that I always use and I always recommend to my clients. Very thorough, efficient, and gets the job done. I'm the real estate agent. My name is, again, Jose Rodriguez, team leader of the REJ team with Keller Williams. Ross, if you could give him maybe like a little background introduction of who you were before even the inspections, what you're into now, things like that.
Sure. Yeah. So just so you guys know, who you guys are listening to. My name's Ross. I'm with Mark's Inspections. We're a home inspection company that started 13 years ago in Westchester. Now we cover New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and a little bit of PA. We do inspections 7 days a week. We're a team of 8 guys. Again, doing them from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Now that we're in the summer, we got daylight, working in our favor. We also have 2 admin that work with us, fully certified for those termite inspections if you're getting FHA or a VA loan, which Jose can talk about. And, we're also mold and asbestos inspectors as well. Sometimes those come up, in our area. We have a lot of older construction, which is cool. They have a lot of character, but they also have some older building materials, that aren't really used anymore. So that's a little bit about myself. I'll let Jose ask me some questions to kind of get you guys a little educated on the home inspection process.
Beautiful. And I mean, just so, because there's some things that I probably don't know, like before the inspection, I mean, what were you doing before this? Like, did you kind of just, like, what made you go and become a home inspector out of everything?
Yeah. So, growing up, my dad was an electrician. He built a bunch of homes and he really put me to work. So I knew I didn't want to work too hard because I saw him kind of, working hard and, put me to work. And I didn't want to do that for 50 years. So, I went to college, came out of college, and, I just was always drawn to real estate. Again, my dad built and sold homes and was an electrician. So, I started looking out at realtors and home inspectors, pretty much all the different kind of people that are in a real estate transaction. I mean, there's attorneys, appraisers, realtors, home inspections, title people, there's so many different kind of players, moving parts, pieces in the real estate transaction. And that's the one that just kind of resonated with me the most because I had, background. I like, cars and motorcycles and, mechanics, how things work, working on stuff, fixing stuff. So it was kind of perfect fit, really. I never thought you dreamed about being a home inspector, but, everything kind of came together at the right time.
Beautiful, man. So I actually had Bruce Alec here speaking about the home mortgage process and the pre-approval process. So, after, like, for me as a real estate agent, step by step, the first thing that I want people to do is get pre-approved before even taking them out. But once they're finally pre-approved and once I finally am able to take them out, we start looking at homes and they find that perfect dream home that they want to buy. And then we need a guy like Ross to go out there and inspect it to make sure that there's nothing wrong with it. So can you go over, because this is now after we have an accepted offer and we're ready to move forward, can you go over maybe why it's important for home buyers to get an inspection? And if you were on the market and you were looking to purchase a home, why you would get an inspection on your home to make sure that, it's solid, or whatever you have to say about it.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, and again, in our area, some of the homes are 100, 200 years old. I mean, even new construction, I did new construction yesterday in Westchester, and there's still things that, they haven't lived in it yet. So there's a lot of, loose ends that haven't really got tied up yet that we come across. But you want to make sure the house is, you don't want any uncovered surprises when you move in. So you get all that money together for the down payment. You've been renting, you're finally ready to purchase, and then you don't want to get into a home where it's going to need a bunch of work as soon as you move into it. Or if it does need a bunch of work, at least you can budget for it and kind of envision that, going forward. So you definitely want to get it inspected to budget, for the future, to have an idea of what's going to need attention. And you want to be comfortable and confident homeowners. I mean, there's a lot of different systems that come together, the electrical, the HVAC, the plumbing, the structure of the house, the ventilation, the siding, keeping everything watertight. So you want to be a good homeowner, so that way you protect your investment. You're spending, in our area, typically around, $500,000 on a home. And, you don't want to run into problems just from, simple maintenance items that, go, undone.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if, like, for example, like, I wouldn't say an investor, but even if you're purchasing the home and you have a pretty good idea about certain things, I would still recommend you guys get an inspection, because it's just always good to know, even if the house is solid, like you're saying, new construction, or it just got recently renovated, you're walking through the home and it looks beautiful, you still want to make sure that, the bones are solid. For me, man, I have an experience that I would like to share about an inspection that I did for one of my first flips. And it leads to the next question that I want to ask you, brother, because
Sure.
when I was getting the inspection for that home, I don't know who the guy was. I forgot his name. It wasn't you though, because I know it wouldn't have happened. But downstairs there was there was water downstairs, right? And we were thinking, okay, it's been kind of raining all day. Again, this is gonna be a flip, so it definitely needed work. But we weren't. The basement looked fine, but we didn't know that we were gonna have to spend about $7,000 to $10,000 installing French drains, because the inspector had mentioned to us that it was just that the gutters were clogged. That's why there was water down there. So we ended up having to spend later on $10,000 on installing French drains. I would say more around 7,000, because the inspector didn't point that out to us. So, I mean, look, I hear it all the time where some inspectors miss something. So what is your take on that to, prevent, like, what are some precautions that you take as a home inspector to prevent from, avoiding to see issues like that and let the client deal with that, or, preventing the client to have to find any surprises after they purchase the home?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, so as a company, which is great about working with a team of 8 of us and being around for so long, we actually put systems and procedures in place to have, a great inspection every time. As a company, we've done over 13,000 inspections. I've done thousands of inspections. So we definitely have systems and checklists and all that stuff that we go over on every single home. So that way it's, it's the same process, it's repeatable. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to kind of look into the past and look into the future. But whenever if I saw water on the floor, sometimes it is just the gutters that are clogged up and they're not piped far enough away from the foundation. But it could also be that the gutters are not piped away and the footing drains are clogged, and, it's an old stone foundation and the ground earth is all pitched towards the house. So there's so many different factors. You really got to look at the home as a whole as it's functioning together, not just, oh, there's some water in the basement. It could be from a leaking pipe. Like, is it groundwater? Do we test the water to see if there's, different types of, chemicals from the city that they put in to stop the pipes from corroding? Or is it, fresh rainwater that's coming up from the ground? So, I mean, in that instance, yeah, there's a lot of kind of different ways we could have, went about determining, the significance of the water, in the basement. But definitely working with 8 guys that have been doing it for a while, all with different specialty backgrounds, really helps have a awesome inspection every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when it comes to, like, let's say, for example, we end up finding certain things wrong with the house. Let's say, for example, maybe you end up finding humidity, or there's something like, what are some of the things that you would deem as like a big expense, for people to look out for? Like, if they're going out to see a house and they're not planning on spending that much money, let's say they're just planning on doing cosmetics. I don't want you to, go into full detail on that's what they're hiring you for, obviously. But I just,
Yeah.
maybe a tip for them to keep in mind when they're viewing homes, just something to keep in mind in general that'll help them guide towards buying the right house when they're looking at these homes, like just certain red flags that you would say when looking at a house.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to be, there's so much stuff, so many different ways I could go with it. But I mean, if I was looking at a house, I would, just be curious and really want to learn about the house. Do some homework. If I wanted a Tudor style house that was built in the 30s or the 20s, I would obviously do some research on, the different types of building materials that were used. Common problems. Like in Orangeburg, there's Orangeburg pipe. You know what I mean? It was a big factory where a lot of the waistlines kind of fail. So, look at your area, see if there's any common, old building materials factories that were common in the area. Like the building materials, the ways of construction for Tudor houses, if it's stucco siding, look at common defects. And yeah, just be really curious, do a lot of homework. YouTube, there's so many resources, HGTV, all that stuff. Some things, take it with a grain of salt, definitely be open-minded and a little skeptical, but, definitely just be curious in the whole, the building science really behind these homes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why Ross has a job, right? So it's pretty much that, that's how I would put it, because obviously you spend a lot of time educating yourself and you've been in the business for quite some time, and you're part of a credible business. So it all makes sense for us to all work together. And what would you say on the importance of having like a good network or a good team in terms of like the agent, the inspector, the home mortgage lender, the attorney? Like, what do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's like what I went back to earlier. There's so many different moving parts, and they're really all services. So they're all individual people. I mean, there are different products, but it's really about the service and the individual. I mean, I'll plug myself in a little bit here. It's great that I work with a team of 7 guys, because if you're out looking for a house, I mean, like the market right now, it's crazy. There's bidding wars going all over the place. A lot of people, getting pushed out of the city, trying to buy. So that's kind of, creating bidding wars. So if you're looking to schedule an inspection and get under contract, that might be, the attorney section a little bit, in your next video. But if you're really fighting to get that house off the market to make it yours, you want to get it under contract. And the step that precedes that is getting a home inspection. So you really want to get that home inspection as soon as you get an accepted offer. Especially in New York, New Jersey, they have attorney review, and a couple of Connecticut, does a little differently. But in New York, you want to get the home inspection done as soon as possible. So like us, we have 8 guys, so we're pretty available. We make it work. So, if you need the inspection tomorrow, the same day, in a couple of days, whatever makes everyone's schedule work, definitely want to get it done. But as far as all the other moving parts, I mean, again, it's same as me. It's service. It's people answering the phone, after hours when you guys are looking at homes, when people are out of work on Saturdays and Sundays. It's the responsiveness, the professionalism, just making everything happen.
Yeah, and it's a big dynamic. And what I like about you, Ross, is that just like myself, I really care about my clients, their situation, and just like you're saying, if they are coming across a house that is going, having a bidding war. And I've been on both sides, man. I've been on the side of the sellers. Usually on the seller side because I deal with more sellers. But when I'm working with the sellers, it's like, and I'm receiving all of these offers just so the buyers that are watching, they can receive a perspective. We had times where we received offers, and because the state of New York, an accepted offer does not mean that you're under contract or that you're safe, because there could be times where the house that you want is 350,000, and then you put in an offer for 350,000, you have an accepted offer, and then somebody else comes right behind you and puts in an offer for 370, 375, and because you didn't do your home inspection right away and got under contract, there still is a possibility of the seller saying, well, they haven't done their home inspections, they haven't gotten under contract. There's a higher possibility that they can go ahead and choose that other offer because there's nothing stopping them from that. And that's why you want to work with people that are diligent, that are going to do right by you. And how long, like, for example, so now that we're even talking about the scenario, let's say they have you go out there, do the inspection. The next thing that the attorneys want to see is the inspection report, because that's where we kind of go ahead and negotiate with the seller if there has to be any kind of negotiation. How fast do you guys get the inspection report to us?
Yeah, so we get it back to the client within 24 hours of the home inspection. So obviously I'll meet the client there, and we'll go through the whole house top to bottom. Usually it takes, 1.5, 2 hours, depending on the size of the house. I've been doing a lot of Zoom inspections now too, people out of the city, people that, with the whole COVID thing going on, there were so many, rules and regulations by New York State that were changing kind of week by week, which was great. I didn't think it would work out that well because, clients were actually coming into crawl spaces and attics with me, going underneath every sink, because it's the phone. A lot of times, they're not going to crawl in those tight kind of, dark areas. So that's been great. But yeah, so as soon as we do the inspection, then I go home and put all the pictures and diagrams into a report. It's a PDF that I email to the client. And then you guys use that, with the attorneys to, put anything in the contract that's, as needed. So you guys can get those signed, get the house off the market, and, get forward with the closing process.
Yeah, absolutely. So this leads me to my last question, brother, and it's with everything that is happening within these times. And, we were kind of talking about this off camera about the whole COVID situation. So I just want to leave this towards the end because it's slowly passing us, right? A month or 2 months from now is probably not even going to be here. But how have you guys been dealing with the pandemic, and how you guys been doing home inspections and things like that?
Yeah, so there was about 3 to 4 weeks, from the end of March for pretty much the month of April, we were, not doing many inspections at all. And when we were, it was vacant houses, or it was strictly, face mask gloves, which we're still wearing. But mostly FaceTime inspections. Realtors weren't really allowed to meet us there. I had access to the Supra, so that was great. I could open up the door. So now we're a little bit past that. Now it's really up to the discretion of all the parties involved. So me, I'm okay with however many people want to be there. It's really up to the buyer's discretion, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent. The seller, obviously, if they're still living there, how many people they want in their house, and so forth. Yeah, I mean, for a while we were doing FaceTime inspections. I mean, I did one this morning. It was still FaceTime, but more and more buyers are coming out and meeting me there, which is great. It's more hands-on. But yeah, I mean, now we've been busier than ever. And then our average price point is a lot higher too. We used to be doing, most of our book of business was, $500,000 homes. The average price point now it's, 1.2, 1.3, up to $3-4 million, which, we've been doing more higher end stuff than ever. So there's definitely a lot of money coming out of the city. Definitely in Westchester, Connecticut. Rockland's starting to pick up now too. It's crazy. Never really experienced this before.
Yeah, and I'm experiencing it with you, brother, because as I'm taking out people to look at houses, some of them we don't even get to go out to look at them because they already have accepted offers.
Yep.
They're already encountering a bidding war, and it's crazy. So we have to be aggressive, and when you're entering a market that's so competitive, it's good to have people right along your side that can communicate effectively with the seller, with the buyer's agent, with the inspector, with the mortgage broker. We need that dynamic. The attorney's gonna go ahead and answer right away. So that's why, it takes a big pool of people to get together and make this whole thing work. And that's why we need guys like, let's say, Ross, that's able to go ahead and be responsive on time and is willing to get the job done no matter the cost. So that pretty much wraps it up. Would you have any maybe last words or last few tips that you can give anybody watching this video, whether they're a home buyer or somebody interested in purchasing a home in the future?
Yeah. I mean, just to go back to what you said before. I mean, obviously, home inspectors are important, but I mean, and you too, man. I mean, you're putting all those pieces together. You're putting the attorney, the mortgage person, the inspector. So, I mean, you're kind of, the beginning phase of all that, which really sets the pace for the transaction. So, yeah, I mean, that's great. But as far as tips and everything, I mean, as we get, further and further into, the market, buyers are definitely going to want, again, the typical time a buyer gets a home inspection is within 48 and 72 hours. So if you schedule a home inspection 3, 4, 5 days, out from accepted offer, sometimes the sellers think you're dragging your feet, and they might keep on taking on more offers and keep on showing the house. So definitely want to get it scheduled sooner than later. And I mean, feel free to post my phone number. At the end of the video, they can people can call, text me, send me photos, videos, whatever. Definitely use me as a resource. I'm not going anywhere. And again, use the home inspection report that I give you guys as kind of a maintenance schedule. In the report, I'll put things that will need attention in a year, 2 years, within 6 months before moving in, before using them. So, definitely use it as a tool and use me as a resource for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you're on social media as well. So how can they find you, like, online on maybe Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, everything's my name. So you can do Ross Heaton. The business page is Mark's Inspections, but again, there's 8 guys. So if as a personal touch, you could add me on Facebook, Ross Heaton. My Instagram is my name, Ross Heaton, ROSSHEATON. I should put my phone number in my Facebook and Instagram pages. That way get easier contacted. But yeah, definitely reach out to me, stay in touch. And again, I post a lot of funny videos and pictures of homeowners thinking they know what they're doing, or they're skilled enough to get something working but not do it right. So there's definitely some funny home inspection bloopers for sure that keep everybody entertained.
Beautiful, man. Well put. And I appreciate you for coming on here, man. I'm going to go ahead and put your information either down below, because I'm going to put this on YouTube, and it's probably going to be up above if it's on Facebook. So again, thank you for coming on here, brother. I really appreciate it. And looking forward on doing more deals with you guys. There you have it.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you guys later.
Awesome. And by the way, like, share, and go ahead and bring anybody that you feel like it's thinking about purchasing a home, because I'm sure that this video is going to be very helpful to them. So peace out, guys.
All right. Take care. Bye.